Welcome. Today we will be exploring 3 allegedly true gas station horror stories. Let me know which ones you liked. I don't like to waste your time, so let's get into it. Here is why I never travel at night anymore without a full tank. So picture this, I'm on a late-night road trip through Texas. You know how it is, long drive, caffeine stops, and blasting music to keep me awake. My gas tank decides to be on the verge of empty. Cue me pulling into this gas station at 3 a.m. and the place was basically a ghost town with just one lonely car in the parking lot. I park my ride next to a pump, slide into the shop, and there they are. The cashier and this dude who's doing God knows what by the coffee machine. I figure, why not grab some coffee? So I'm pouring that steaming cup of magic, and next thing I hear is, "Hey, that coffee's hot, you know." I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't think it was iced coffee, Einstein." He mumbles something and drifts away. I shuffle over to the cashier, ready to pay for my coffee, when this guy morphs into social butterfly and starts with the small talk. "Nice top," he says. And I'm like, thanks, it's my don't talk to me uniform. But he's not getting the hint at all. Where are you headed at this ungodly hour? Cashier dude's just chilling, acting like he's in his own Netflix series. Not really getting that I'm dealing with a creep show over here, I ignore him and go to begin fueling my car. I hear the click and close up my tank and look up. He's standing on the other side of the car, just staring at me. I'm starting to panic and feel super uneasy. Then, to make matters worse, he asks, "Are you alone?" I respond that my boyfriend is in the car, a dumb lie, but I couldn't think of anything fast enough. I just wanted to buy time to grab the pepper spray from my bag. He responds with, "I don't see anyone in the car," so I whip it out and he begins to back away slowly while looking at me the whole time. I still had to go back in to get some change, so I did when he was far enough. After I got my change, I told the cashier that the man outside was making me uncomfortable, but I don't think he spoke English well enough to understand me. I didn't leave the shop because I had lost sight of the man and waited until another pickup truck showed up. I walked up to the truck and asked the guy that got out if he could help me look behind my car, because I think there is someone hiding there. He looked at me like I was crazy, but I was trembling, so he eventually went there. I stood back and all I hear is him yelling, "What are you doing back there?" The creepy guy runs as fast as he can into the forest behind the gas station, and I hop in my car and drive as fast as I can. I still think about it. He was waiting to pounce the moment I opened my door. If you have a story to share, let us know, or check out some other ones. This story starts with an act of kindness that would haunt me forever. I worked at a gas station in New Zealand that had its fair share of homeless people that came in and out on the daily. Among them was a particular homeless man who would hover around the gas station almost every day. My co-workers knew him and told me he was a bit strange but generally harmless. He would visit for a free cup of hot water and give the occasional rant that was filled with swearing. Feeling bad for the guy, especially during those chilly winter shifts, I'd happily hand over his cup of hot water. But here's where things get weird. He stopped being content with his hot water fix and decided he was all about disturbing my peace of mind. He began with comments about my looks and body, which was seriously not cool, and before I knew it, the store I used to love working at became a nightmare. You know that feeling when you're being watched. Well, I felt like I had eyes on me all the time, especially when I was working solo. This guy was a pro at showing up when I was alone, like clockwork. It's like he had my schedule down to a science. He never came on my days off, and even when I would switch my schedule, he would be there as soon as I started my shift, and back the moment the last customer left. I caught him many times looking from bushes and weird angles. He would yell and bang on the locked door at night. It was honestly traumatizing. I told my boss everything and I called the police many times, but he kept getting away. Eventually the police did catch him and I was told he was going to receive a criminal harassment charge and a restraining order. However, legally they had also said they had to issue a warning first. So the issue wasn't a problem of if he would come back, it was a matter of when. He was released the very next day. I couldn't take it anymore, so I asked for a transfer to a new location. Everyone was told not to tell him where I had gone. I became paranoid every time I worked and would check periodically during my shift to make sure he hadn't magically found me. Sure enough, one night after the last customer had left, I see someone running in the distance. Without even thinking, I rush to the door to lock it, and I see him banging on the door. How did he find me? Who told him? He couldn't have walked all this way, could he? I called the cops and he got arrested. I received good news later that he had pleaded guilty and my year of suffering was finally over. I still think he will show up one day. I'm just glad he never found out where I lived. This is a story I'm not proud of. I still feel guilty to this day. I'm always stuck doing the graveyard shift at this gas station on the edge of town. Night after night I'm there, keeping myself busy with books or restocking shelves, just to distract myself from the miles of darkness that surrounded me. Sure, the occasional customer drops in, mostly the regulars from nearby, and then out of nowhere this young woman walks in wearing this dark robe. I had seen too many cult movies at this point, so that was the first thing that came to mind. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not the judgmental type, but I couldn't shake off the weird vibe of this situation. She strides up to the counter like she's the queen of the place and slams her hand down as if she owns the joint. Summoning my best customer service voice, I ask if she needs a hand with something. But let me tell you, her voice wasn't anything close to soothing. It's all hoarse and jumbled up, like she's struggling with something caught in her throat. She pushes a piece of paper my way, and I take a glance. Written in red ink, it's a pretty unsettling list. Stuff like vial of blood, lock of hair, tooth, nail, candle, match, and some other things I couldn't make heads or tails of. Then she flips the paper, and there it is on the back. I need your help. Something's outside, and it's chasing me. At this point, I'm majorly uncomfortable, and I'm honestly not up for dealing with whatever's going on. So I suggest she call the cops, you know, the logical thing to do. But she loses it, starts pulling stuff off the shelves, turning the place into a mess. That's when I decide it's time for her to leave. I'm thinking she might be on something. She storms out, and that's the last glimpse I get of her that night. Next day I show up, and bam, there are 2 police cars parked outside. Turns out they found a seriously messed up body not far from here. Now, I never breathed a word about that woman's visit that night. My brain's working overtime, trying to figure out how I could avoid feeling guilty. I tell myself there's no way I could have known she was in real danger, and even less of a chance I could have saved her from some psycho killer. That concludes the 3 stories we had for you today. Remember to submit your stories to our email down in the description. Thanks for watching.